If I hit my bulldozer tool once I use the marquee, that's exactly what I want. Hi, I'm Lee, and welcome back to Reddington, a nice southern town on the fringes of Appalachia. We've got a really great city going on here so far, about 6,300 or so sims, and we've got a few roads stretching across the countryside like so, and we've got a beautiful town square that we built in the last video. But now, I want to take stock of something really important. How do you get to Reddington? Right now we have this one freeway entrance right here, and we have an insane amount of highway built, and this is all from the default map. This all came with a map. I did not build any of this. All I did was extend right off of here into that interchange. And you know, well, let's just take a look at this map here. I think I can, yeah, there we go. We've got the terrain contour lines here, and if we take a look at this highway, well, it doesn't seem like it follows the terrain much at all. In fact, really, I just cannot stand the amount of highway that's on here. Look at that. Like, I could build a gigantic city in here and I still wouldn't need all this highway. So what are we going to do about that? We're going to get rid of it. Yes, that's right. We are not going to have highways in Reddington, because if this is a nice southern town on the fringes of Appalachia back in the past, why would we have highways at all? So I'm going to take the advantage of the fact that I have about 2 million credits, and I'm going to go into my 81 tiles mod, and I'm just going to unlock all the tiles for the low price of free. And as that takes hold, I will have access to the entire map, all the way to the edge. Hopefully the screen won't jerk too much as it finishes its work. Let's see here. I can't even zoom out that far. Well, that's fine. But anyway, we can see that the terrain lines are really not honored well by what we have here with the highways and the rail lines. And, you know, these roads aren't really all that straight to begin with. They're not really all that attractive either. So, you know what? We don't need all that highway. We don't want all these rail lines. Honestly, this town would have formed just fine on its own and probably gone on for a good number of decades, if not maybe a century or so, without needing any highways or rail lines at all, because none of that had been invented yet. So how am I going to get rid of this, though, without getting rid of all of the roads in Reddington? Well, move it is the answer. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to select, I don't want buildings, I don't want props, I don't want decals, surfaces, trees, I do want nodes. Actually, I'm going to get rid of, I don't want nodes. Let's go with, oh, okay. All right, so I don't care about power lines or fences or paths. I don't want those. I want the tracks. Let's see how that works. If I hit my bulldozer tool once I use the marquee, that's exactly what I want. All right, so let's get rid of some of this here. I'm going to time lapse this. Okay, so I've got a wide swath here that has been selected. Now, unfortunately, I did not load any mods that would make it so that I could easily select everything all at once. But I've gotten out pretty far, and a lot of the infrastructure seems to be in mostly the same places, so I'm just going to wipe all of that out. And one of the other tricks here you can use to get more into your Move It screen, if you're not using a mod where you can zoom all the way out and see the entire map at once, like Enhanced Zoom Continued, I think, is one of the mods that would allow you to see the entire map from a satellite view. That will, all you have to do is line it crossways, you know, you get more length across the screen than you would up and down. That'll help you get rid of more of this all at once. Now, I think I've got it all. If I find any more later, I can just get rid of it then. So now I have a completely disconnected Reddington. There is no highway, nothing to stop me now. So now what I want to do is I want to connect Reddington to the edge of the map. Now, how am I going to do this? Well, back in the day, especially way back in the day, we had paved roads only in town. And a lot of times they weren't paved with aggregate surfaces like asphalt or concrete. They were paved with things that are made out of bricks. Now, I do not get brick assets in here, but we can probably put those in, put some brick or stone assets that'll make some really cool little streets downtown in here. You know, we might just go with the regular roads for now. I'm not really sure. I haven't decided. All I know for sure right now is I want to rebuild the road network so that you can get in and out of Reddington from the outside of the map. I need at least one route to get out. But one of the things I think about this as well is that the map, this map has a lot of water on it. Now, I really think that what Reddington would have been founded here at this junction of all these rivers, and I think that that it probably would have taken advantage of some kind of landing over here. Got a little lighthouse down here, which is kind of odd. So you don't usually put those on rivers, but there are a lot of rocks over here. So I don't think that they would go navigating up this river any further than they have here. So what I would expect is that there would be some sort of river landing right here. So I'm going to make sure that the road network sort of reflects that I think that the farmers would have brought all of their goods down here to the shore of this wide, you know, almost like a lake here, and use this as a way to get their goods out until along came the railroads. Because roads weren't really a great way to get anything around, getting anything in and out for shipping until the automobile, which came along way after railroads did. Railroads came around in probably 1840s or something. Another thing that happened quite a bit in the United States and even around the world are canals. Canals were used by a lot of places to get, you know, goods in and out. Now, I don't recall whether they used a whole lot of those in the Southeast. Mountainous terrain and canals usually don't mix super well. One canal that they did build across the Appalachian Mountains is the Erie Canal, which connects Buffalo and Albany, New York. It connects Lake Erie and the Hudson Valley. Now, there was a couple of reasons why you needed that canal. It could have gone up the St. Lawrence River into Lake Erie, but not really, with Niagara Falls in the way. Ship traffic wasn't able to go through there until they built the Welland Canal, which was not the kind of canal that we're talking about here. We're talking about smaller canals. The Erie Canal really was a pretty good sized canal for its time. And it did connect a ton of freight traffic between Lake Erie and the Hudson Valley. The Hudson River is a very easily navigable river for quite a while inland from New York Harbor. So anyway, those are a few things that I've got in my mind. So who knows, maybe we'll try to build a canal, although I would think that maybe we'd need some locks. I don't know. If we did build a canal, it probably wouldn't be up this peninsula. If we take a look at the contour lines, I think you'll understand why. The canal would probably be used to bypass these rivers, especially, you know, you really need locks. And I don't know that there are any good lock assets. If you know of some, please suggest them. I would honestly really like to try those out. I'm just not sure if they're functional or not, but either way, canal would be pretty cool over through there. And I probably see a canal going through here too. I'm not sure if there's more rocks upstream. Looks like this is pretty deep water. I don't see more rocks, so yeah, canal could probably work in those places realistically. So let me know what you think. If we can do canals, I'll do them. But right now I need to put some country roads in, and those are going to be the way to connect everything. And we're not going to make them paved roads. They're going to be, well, they'd be gravel roads or dirt roads. Not really gravel, because once again, you need aggregate for that. And they didn't usually build anything with aggregate too much because you had to chop the stones up by hand. It wasn't until they came up with lots of machinery that they were able to grind up lots of stones and turn it into gravel. So we're going to go off of that premise. And we're gonna pretend these are dirt roads and not gravel roads. So let's build some gravel roads. Let's first off start towards this landing out here, where very likely there would have been a road anyway. Now this is a somewhat steep incline, but not too bad. What is that? That's 10 meters over about 15, yeah, about 15 units. Let me do some quick math here. That's about a 2/3% grade, so not really the most ideal grade, but not an unrealistic one. So especially considering this is probably going to be an old road, we're gonna just build this. I think that looks like the low spot right there. And you know what we'll do? Just to sort of sell this story. This is a vanilla map. I really didn't do much to it. I don't really like to do a lot of terraforming. I like to kind of work with the terrain a bit here, but I'm going to, oops, I want a brush size here about, let's go with that. I'm just gonna try to lower this down a little bit. Now this is probably gonna flood, but that's not too big of a problem for me. That is quite deep. I'm not worried too much about the depth. I just want to get this to be a little bit of a harbor right here. So the irregularity is going to be good because I'm going to increase the brush size now. And I'm just going to smooth this out. There'd probably be a lot of sediment deposited over here anyway that would make this a decent spot for a landing. I think those rocks would slow the current down a little bit over there maybe. I don't know. Probably speed it up some, so maybe we should loosen this up a little bit too. Okay, yeah, I think that would be good. It looks like a good landing. Let's let the water run through there and just see what happens. This is gonna be a little disruptive to the outside connections, but I think it will serve to show us where the water is gonna come in and go back out. Now these river levels, I'm used to using this map, so I know these river levels change quite a lot, quite frequently. So I'm not really sure what to expect as far as how close to the water I can get, but it looks like I did a decent job at creating some place where there would be maybe a landing. Looks like I could probably smooth that out a little bit more. Let me do that. Okay, let's see how that works. Start the clock a little bit here. Water's always a little tricky in this game. It reacts very slowly. It seems like it's got a little higher viscosity than actual water would have. But I think that's the effect that I was looking for right there. Yeah, I think that looks good. Okay, so now I need to make sure, first off, that it stays at a decent time of day so that you can see what I'm doing. But that looks like a good place for a landing right there. And I could probably bring this road right down here. In fact, I might even just bring another road down through here. I think the grades look pretty good in this area. There, it's a little steep. It's not too bad though. Snake that right across here, and I think it would go up the hill right here. And this road is gonna connect with it somehow here. But I don't want it to be too steep. Yeah, that's pretty steep right there. I think this will work. Okay, it wants to bend. Oh, and it wants anarchy. I need anarchy right here, so that will fit right in nicely. And is there a way to go down? Not really. I don't think so. So some of that land's really steep. I think that this would be acceptable right here. And then this is probably me run this down to this cliff view here. I need to run it at a steeper angle than that though. Yeah, that pretty well covers it. All right, so that gets you down to the landing, accesses a little bit of that land. Now let's connect this over here. Check the grade out here. That's a little steeper than I'd like right there. All right, so we need to gain more elevation on this side. Actually, we need to go straight up right there. So that's not the greatest grade either. Go up 12. That is quite a bit better. And that's not ideal, but I'm going to tolerate that just because I don't really feel like there's going to be a whole lot of better resolution there. Okay, so now this can, for the most part, just run straight into here. I want that to be ground, and that looks like a pretty good road right there. Now, I want to have a bridge. This will be our first bridge getting across the river. And I think it would just run. Well, let's see. Let's figure out where to put this bridge first. Now, I have a potential height disparity here, 120, 132. Okay, that's actually higher on this side than I expected it to be. So, it's more likely that this bridge would be built somewhere where that height where that height difference would not be quite as severe. I don't think that I'm gonna find that here though. Whoa, 132, 120, that's a 12-meter difference. That's pretty big. All right, so I'm in the 120 range there, but then I'm over all the way down to 100 over here. That's even worse. So I think what we'll do is just build a bridge right here, because I don't really think that there's any other option. That's really pretty steep over here, but I think if we just follow this contour here, let's just build a bridge approach on this side. Now you want the bridge to be nice and short getting across. You also want terrain that's favorable for the bridge. This is really a lousy spot for a bridge. It's not really actually as high as it looks either. 122. Alright, so we're just gonna go with this here. Now I'm gonna lay this down as a ground road. And that's got a grade on it. Not what you really want to see. So let's see. First off, I think that the bridge embankment is going to be about there on either side. And let's see what we can do about this. Hey, 24 units, that's not too bad. But let's raise one side of this up some. And in fact, I think I'm gonna dig out, I need to switch over to my regular move it tool here. All right, so I'm going to increase the size of this in page up, increase the height a little bit, and decrease the height a little bit over here. This would be a lot of earth moving for way back in the day. Oops, that's not what I want. Oh, it didn't do a straight slope. No wonder that bridge went into the water. All right, let's do straight slope. And then we can see the grade here. Okay, now that grade is almost perfect. I don't think that's realistic either. So let's move these up about, that down 2 meters. Oh, I don't want to go 13 units. Sorry guys, try this one more time here. All right, so I want to go 12 units out and I want to be at -2. And on this side, I'm going to drop this 2 meters. Okay, that's not exactly what I had in mind. I'm going to draw that in again with a straight slope turned on. Sometimes you got to toggle it to get it to work right. And that's not too bad of a grade. I don't know what the percentage of that would be, but I think it's pretty mild. That's 24 units, and we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, roughly 7. So 24 units times 8 meters, 192 meter run, and we've got, what did I say, 8? Let's just say 8. Over 192, that's about a 4% grade. That's not too bad. It's not great for a bridge, but it's probably under 4% or about 4.5%. I don't really like that for a grade on a bridge, but I will accept it. Now let's build the bridge approaches over here. So it looks like we should have a pretty favorable grade to go right in here. I'm going to go out 3 units here. Actually, I'm going to just go 15 on this side here. And upgrade this to a bridge and fill in that straight section. And that looks pretty reasonable. Probably could have had that go up a little bit more. Well, that's, yeah, okay, that's about right. I probably could raise that up a little bit more. Let me do that. I think that it would be reasonable to have that go up just a tad higher. I'll increase the height over here a little bit. All right, so I did a little earth moving more than I think would have been realistic for the time, but it'll be okay. We're gonna have to fix it later anyway. So now I think this would have, oops, I lost my terrain lines. I think this would have, yeah, a little bit of a notch right there, but that's pretty good. Could have used what they dug out over there to build up over here, although it would have been a little challenging since that would have been on the other side of the river without a bridge. And now I would bring that out through here, because that is a nice spot right there. Bring a road. And I think since this would have been engineered, I think that they would have made sure that the road was straight going through here. So I'm going to make sure the road is straight. All right, we'll just stop there for now. But at least we've got one bridge over the river, over one of the rivers. So we're going to stop there for now. And I'm going to work this road out towards the other river here. I think that there would have been a bridge somewhere over here to get to this peninsula. Actually, there would have been probably a bridge up here and a bridge here. But right now, I'm just going to work over to these rocks, because I think that this would have been a road that they would have built over near these rocks, and then I think they would have tried to get a bridge across here. Let's see what the heights are like over here. So that's 141. That's a much more reasonable bridge crossing right there. So let's put in a bridge. Well, you know what, honestly, I think I'm just going to run into those rocks. That's a really wide area. I don't think they would have chosen that for a bridge when they could easily, much more easily go somewhere up over here. In fact, I think that this would probably curl over and make a really great spot for a bridge right there. What are the right grades for our heights over here? 47. That's pretty high. 157 here and 145 over here. It's a pretty big difference. Meanwhile, if I go up further, how are we over here? 177, about 165. Okay, so now this is a wider area, but I almost think that it might be more attractive for a bridge. This is really not a great spot. None of this is a really great spot. So maybe they would have built a bridge over here. I think I'm going to do that. We got 142 over here and 138. I really like that. I think this is where their bridge would go, because the terrain is just more amenable to it. It's a lot easier to build something right here than it would be over there. All right, so let's use our trick with the, oh, that's a really long bridge. Let's see if we maybe could build one up here. 142, 138 again. Okay, that's not bad. And the road, it's a little narrower of a spot for sure. What is our grade? Oh man, it's hardly even noticeable right there. Let's see what the difference is on each side. 141 roughly, 38. Okay, yeah, that's going to be almost imperceptible. So I like that. So let's set up an embankment over here. I really think that maybe there just would have been a road that ran along through here, and this road runs up the hill and meets it. Actually, probably that would be the road. I think that I want to go up here more than I did. That looks really good. All right, I think a straight road here would make sense. Yeah, I like that. Now let's extend this road along further. Actually, let's finish this bridge here really quick. I'm not going to worry about what's going to happen on this other side just yet. I'm just going to mark it and convert this to bridge segments. Would have been a pricey bridge to build, but it probably would have been built right there. I don't think they would have built any other bridges up here. It just, terrain is really lousy unless you have more modern bridge building techniques. So we're going to go with that. All right, so now let's extend this and find a way to access the roads up through here. In fact, you know, I'm gonna extend this road too while we're at it. I think this would have come out pretty straight right here for quite a while. Yep, that looks really good. And then at some point, I think it would have wanted to head towards the rocks. So far, so good. Okay, so the rocks probably wouldn't be a massively prominent feature. I don't think that road's really going to go too much further beyond that. Now I want to somehow connect over to it though. And I think I'll follow this contour line all the way across to here. And probably, yeah, let's just do that. Cool. So now those two roads connect out of the city. Well, they will once we connect them to the edge of the map. And I think that this road here probably also connect. That looks good. So we've got a lot of interconnection going on here. We have this peninsula very well covered with a lot of roads. Now I want to try to build out to the edge of the map over here. These ones are complaining that they don't have, what are they looking for? Not enough buyers. It's probably because they can't export. So we need to have some roads where they can export. And we've got a couple of roads that go out of the city. I think I'm going to continue those out across the countryside. Whoa. But I'm not going to do a whole lot of narration here. I'm just gonna work my way through. If I find anything interesting that I want to share, I will do that. But you get the idea. I really want this peninsula to have a lot of roads because I really think that this would have been a high concentration of settlers would have come in here because of this landing and would have, founded the town, set up some services and things like that, would have had some blacksmiths set up shop, things like that, so that they could supply all these farmers because I think that this land, would be decent. And I think eventually, you'd also see some sawmills. We'll probably set some of that up in the near future and have some lumber industry, forestry industry going on in here so that we can take advantage of that. I don't know that there would have been a lot of development on the other side of the peninsula. The other side of the river here. This is a wider river. Would have been harder to bridge. Would have been really hard to get through here, so you wouldn't be able to navigate it really at all. Might be a fun whitewater raft ride, maybe, if the currents weren't too strong. That's a lot of water over there. And I don't really see a whole lot of really easy spots for bridges, at least not anywhere down here. So I'm not going to focus too much on this side of the map. What I am going to do is try to build a road that will take me out probably somewhere, I don't know, maybe along this river on either side. Possibly build another bridge over here to get the other side. But for the most part, I think I'm just going to concern myself with getting along this river on either side of it, with both of those roads. I think at some point it would make a lot of sense to have a road that would come through here where the old road was and over this pass. That's actually pretty steep over here, so I'm not going to worry about that too much either. It makes the most sense that there would be roads along the river, I think, because the land over here is much better. There'd probably be the forestry industry over there. We'll probably put some little towns over there. And then the other place I think that would be most reasonable to see a road go through would be somewhere up here. Probably a road that follows out through this valley here somewhere, maybe, but more likely that this pass really opens up a lot of land that I could imagine being over here beyond these mountains. So it would make a lot of sense to have a road go through there. But I don't think that that road would be necessarily a straight road. I think it'd be a whole bunch of, be a conglomeration of a whole bunch of roads here. So we're going to extend this road off somewhere and just kind of work through this. Hopefully you'll get an idea of the method of my madness. I'm not sure if I'm explaining this very well or not, but I just sort of have a feel for the geography and I just try to follow it. So we're going to do that right now. finally got to the edge of one edge of the map. That is a snaked road. The road really snakes through there. Ends a few times. Got a few other roads that run into it. And it's just because the terrain is not very even. And I tried to avoid grades as much as possible, but yeah, you know, I think that'll work. Definitely looks like a winding Appalachian road, doesn't it? So now I'm going to try to push it out towards this direction so that I have, you know what, actually I'm going to try to go the other way. If I have it only, whoops, if I only have this one going, I'm going to have a, well, actually if I only have this one going, I'm going to be in pretty good shape, but actually that isn't really the worst idea. I'm just thinking there's cross traffic that runs through from the map. Any map, if you have two outside connections, there will be traffic running between those two outside connections. And what I want to avoid is I want to avoid all of it kind of converging at any one point. So I actually might save myself a little grief and add more outside connections by turning this on. It's when I go across town, that's when I'm going to have problems. So we'll deal with that. And I'll actually show you what that looks like in a bit. You know, I think I do want to connect that route. We'll see what I end up doing here. I'm going to start the clock, though, and see how this plays out. It takes a little time for the outside connections to get realized. More than anything, though, I think it's going to take time to traverse all of this. And there goes the army of trucks. So it's going to be interesting seeing all these trucks having to deal with all of this. Now let me make sure I have traffic control set up here. Now, I probably, if I remember right, I set up some stop signs using the vanilla. Yep, I sure did. I'm going to change these to TMPE stop signs here. Alright, now hopefully this will allow for imports as well. Let's see, lots and lots of traffic going through here. This must be the shorter route. I sort of figured it would be. And there are trucks and cars coming in now too. So this is good. Reddington is again connected to the outside world by road. Not a very good road, but this is the countryside. And paving was extremely expensive back in the old days, so there's no way this would have not been a dirt road in the first place. So now what I need to do is I need to complete more of these roads. Something I think I really want to do is connect some more of these on the peninsula before I go connecting anything else, especially to the west or the south of the city, because otherwise everything is going to go through Reddington and it's just going to get ugly. Let's see if we can connect some of these over here. I'm going to remove these power lines. If I remember right, there is infrastructure underneath these power lines. So I'm going to take these out and build a road. Okay, so I've got another road. That one's a little messier towards the end. Well, along that mountainous riverside, it's not the greatest. So now let's see what happens when we start the clock. There's probably going to be a lot of traffic on that road too. Hopefully most of it, if it's trying to go from one place to the other, cuts along this road rather than making a big mess elsewhere. Let's see what's going on over here. Here's our first takers. I mean, they're not even going out of town. Let's see if there's anything going on the other end. Not so far. It makes me wonder if this is even connected. Oh, there we go. Now we see a truck coming. Where's he gonna head? He's heading out of town. Alright, so that's a good sign. That's all working then. I have no idea what to expect going forward. So anyway, you get the idea. We've got a lot of real good roads right here. I'm going to try and connect a few more, I think, in the other direction. I know this is a lot of time-lapse for you, but I think you'd probably agree that you'd rather see me time-lapse this than show you all the details, because it's really quite a painstaking bit of work. I always sort of dread doing this, but the results afterwards are pretty cool. I mean, look at that. That's really cool windy roads right there. And there's so many more places that I want to connect where we ended the road and started with a new one, just because of the way the terrain ran. So yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting as we go through here. So I'm going to try and connect these other two up real quick. I hope this will go a little bit faster than the last two. Okay, so that's one more connection. It's really not the best, but we'll add more roads as time goes on and we develop this map. But we've got a connection. Oh, this is bad. What did I do wrong? Oh, I forgot about the cemetery. Oh, this is terrible. Oh, what a mistake. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to build these here temporarily because I don't think that I have access to the crematorium just yet. And I will get rid of these. I meant to unlock all of the other assets, in which case I would be able to deal with this a lot more effectively. Wow, what a mistake. I'm gonna let this go while this thing sorts itself out. Ouch. Yeah, that'll fix itself though. Okay, so I've got a couple of routes across. I really need to get another one out over this ridge, but I'm not gonna fret over that right now. I will deal with that as it comes. It might be nice to have a road that goes along through here or over here, but we talked about dealing with the terrain, making that a little softer, because these are really serious cliffs over here, which isn't really very Appalachian, at least not right by the waterway. Usually there's a nice wide floodplain in the Appalachia. For big rivers like this, unless it's a lake that got flooded or something, it's usually pretty easy to access the waterfront in a lot of cases, at least from what I've seen. And our little landing is flooding now and then, but either way, it still works. I don't have anything built over there. Oh, let's see how this is going. It's looking a little better. All these things are going to have to upgrade again. What a bummer. Well, we'll fix that. This is a work in progress all the way here. But I think we've gotten ourselves to a good place where we're going to be able to bring in the railroad. Or at least maybe have one more episode where we maybe create the timber industry here. Because I really think that that would be a thing for sure. That's very, very common, that there's a lot of lumber industry, forestry industry, and a lot of furniture industry in Appalachia, especially in the Carolinas. There was a lot of logging that went on, and that's where a lot of those companies came from. And then on top of that, you know, it's just good wood what they have over there. A lot of hardwood in those Appalachian mountains. So they were able to use that to make all sorts of stuff. And we're going to do the same thing. And we're probably going to start up a little forestry town outside somewhere as well. And we'll build that up into a nice 5-star industry, get some unique factories going on, and we'll see how things go. Maybe we can interact and get some other unique factories here in Reddington. that are dependent on both the farming and the forestry industry. And we also, I don't know if you noticed this, but this over here is oil. So there's a lot of opportunity right there too. And I don't know if there's ore on this map or not, but mining is definitely something that happened a lot in Appalachia, especially for coal. There was actually even a gold rush in a long time ago. I didn't even know about this until I stumbled across it somewhere. It was written about. So we'll talk about that sometime down the line when we create our ore industry. But right now we're getting back to equilibrium here. Let's look at our land value here and see how bad I messed it up. Yeah, that's bad. Okay, 46, that's back where it was. But it'll definitely have to get better again after all the death wave and abandonment that we had. Well, at least I connected it in a few places. Now let's see if there's any cross traffic coming in through Reddington. Let's pull up our routes info view and we'll take a look at where everybody's coming. We have to name these roads, but I haven't even got anything built on any of these roads, so it's really hard to name any of them. So it looks like all of this is just coming into the city. We don't have anybody really using this outside connection just yet. It makes me wonder if it's connected again, because I don't see anything using it just yet. Sometimes it takes a little while. There's a way to find out. So this is connected to the outside. We should be able to see a node off the map, and we've got the double arrow. That's good. Over here, this road looks pretty contiguous, and that one does. That one looks good so far. And then there's this one, and then it connects there, and then that is viewed as a loop by the game. So that's definitely connected. The question is, has anybody started using it yet? It doesn't look like it, which is kind of strange, but it'll eventually get used, so I'm not going to sweat that too much. Now let's see if there's any kind of traffic jams here on the edge of the map going out towards this other way out. Doesn't look like it so far. This definitely looks like the preferred way in and out of town. Not a lot of traffic on this road, but it is definitely getting some use. Looks like that's a tourist got his camper on, but not a whole lot going on that road. So we sort of lucked out so far, except for when I forgot about the cemetery. I let that clock run so long. So now I'm having some issues with not enough buyers. So we really need to find some place that wants to buy animal products. And you know what? Actually, this reminds me, there was somebody who suggested, where's my bakery? That's not my bakery. All right, we got a small warehouse there. Where is my bakery? There's the bakery. So I've got all this material. I didn't even realize the slider was here. Never noticed it. I'm gonna pump that up to 150%. We're making money there anyway. Let's make some pastries. So we'll bring in some flour, bring in some more crops, more animal products, and hopefully that will start to reduce some of what's going on over here. But, you know, that remains to be seen. You might have an overabundance here. Exporting is definitely a problem. Now let's see how reliant on exports we are. This is important since we're talking about outside connections. We're importing a lot of goods. It's because we really don't have a huge industrial area over here. We're exporting a lot of agricultural products, but not an insane amount. We're using probably a lot of that, a lot of the production. But we're exporting less than we're importing. Not exactly ideal, but as long as it's close to balance, and it is close to balance, it's not way out of whack. And for those of you who were concerned about the traffic flow, well, that sure does seem to have been resolved for the most part. Now, let's take a look here. This area through here is a little busy, but I think it'll be okay. Not gonna worry about that too much. It looks like these guys are happier now. They're not overwhelmed with animal products anymore. And how's our bakery doing? Making lots of money. So we're in good shape there. So we will continue. We'll build a forestry industry in the next episode, and we'll get that going and bring in more money for Reddington. We'll build a small satellite town for our industry this time. Whoa! But that's what we have so far. I like that so much better. Could probably fill in some of these trees because it looks a little naked there, but We really have a much more realistic looking town now that we've gotten rid of the highways and the rail lines where they were by default. Going forward, we're going to add highways, but the railroads will come way before, and we'll have a progression to tell the story of how transportation evolved over time throughout the United States, especially cross-country transportation. So I really appreciate your patience today as I built all these winding roads across the countryside here. Now, I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments on Discord. Find that link in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. Next week, we won't have a Reddington episode on Monday. Instead, on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern, I think that's 1300 UTC, I'll have 3 new episodes of 5B1C. If you want to catch an earlier behind the scenes look, now would be a great time to support the channel on Patreon. You can get ad-free access on all tiers, early access on all but the lowest tier, so you'll see episodes well before they hit YouTube, and the highest tiers get behind the scenes access, which should be pretty good coming this next week. I have plenty of exclusive stuff that I'm planning on sharing to show you what's going into 5B1C because we've got a lot to do. So thank you so much if you're already a member on Patreon, and whether you are or not, thank you so very much for watching, and enjoy the rest of the view as we head right into Reddington. So long!